All right, I think we are going to go ahead and get things kicked off here. So, thank you very much for joining me today, Michelle and Matt from Vita Performance. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kristen Wilson. I'm one of the co-owners of Action Potential Physical Therapy, and we love doing these community segments where we reach out with community partners that we have formed this awesome relationship with, so that we can share information to the community for the betterment of all of the members in our community. Health and wellness is so important to all of the three of us and both of our businesses. And this feels so good to be able to share this kind of information with those out there in our communities. So like I said, I'm co-owner of Action Potential along with Kathy Dixon. We are a one-on-one physical therapy office with 2 locations, one in Glen Mills and one in Kennett Square. What makes us different than most physical therapy providers is we do that one-on-one model. So when you come in for PT, it's just you and your therapist, and we can really dive into the issues to help get you back to whatever your individual goal is. We specialize in working with older adults, pelvic health, joint problems, vestibular conditions, and Parkinson's. So we've got kind of a wide array of specialties, but certainly able to meet the needs of just the average person seeking a great physical therapy experience. So with that, let me turn it over to Michelle and Matt so you guys can introduce Vita, please.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for having us.
Hi, guys.
I'm Matt. If you haven't figured that out yet.
And I'm Michelle.
So we're located not too far from you, and I'd say about a 5-minute drive. And we've been here for about 6 years. Been in the business for over 25 years, but we're excited to create this relationship because our focus and our goals are kind of in the same alignment, where we're not a huge studio, we're by appointment only. So we are one-on-one as well. We're a small group where we're really able to personalize. And that's kind of what we're known for. Michelle, you want to?
Yeah, no. So again, it's small and safe and very welcoming space. I hope that you guys can get an idea of what the space looks like. So very open, not a lot of machines. We use one of our favorite things to use is the TRX, which is an amazing tool to help just mobility, stability, flexibility. So very welcoming space, and so it aligns really nice with you guys. We work a lot in the senior population. We work a lot with balance issues, with mobility, flexibility. So we want you to feel good. So our line is move well, live well, right? Because if we're not moving well, we're not living well. So yeah, I think we could.
What we're known for. You guys had pointed out what you're kind of known for, and different from the rest of where you go for physical therapy is from the feedback we get from our clients is that we're honed in on one, being personal, not like a cookie cutter program, but also geared off of our thorough assessment we do. We're big into movement. Movement's really out, it's out in the industry, thrown out there, like everybody's like, yeah, we're into this, we're into that, and functional movements thrown around and core work's thrown around. But we kind of take a different approach from our thorough assessment, and then apply that to what we see from that assessment, which we can get into in a little bit. And that's kind of the feedback when people are like, well, why do you go to Vita? Why aren't you going to XYZ versus Vita? So over the course of the 25 years we've been in the business, we're able to apply all that knowledge into that.
Absolutely. And I think, I imagine based on that intro, you would agree with us. Movement is medicine. It's what helps the body perform and achieve the goals that we want. And that's really the hallmark of what we're going to talk about today is how do we get our bodies to perform the way we want it to if we're recovering from an injury, or if we find that there's something that maybe is limiting our ability to exercise. And, what better 2 people to talk this out with than, personal training, personal movement coaches, and a physical therapist. So this is really kind of the wheelhouse for all of us to talk about, and certainly something that, we all hold near and dear to our hearts. So, in getting together this presentation, the first question that came to mind for me that I'd love your guys' thoughts on is, when you're working with someone who maybe is recovering from an injury, what are the ways that you know that person is ready to return to regular exercise? So maybe not just the rehabilitative component of it and the injury recovery component, but now we're ready to get back into real workouts. What are the things that you guys use to help make that decision?
It's a great question. First and foremost, and I explain to the clients is that, you're sometimes before they even come to you, they'll come to us because they have trust and faith in us. And, I explain, hey, listen, we're not physical therapists, and I don't portray to be a physical therapist, nor are physical therapists full on what we do as strength and conditioning coaches and personal trainers. Do our lines cross and our fields cross? Greatly, they do. But we make sure we paint that picture nice and clear. So we immediately will steer them towards someone like you if there's any type of pain or it's out of our field. But, if they're cleared through you or another facility through the physical therapy and they're ready for us, then we do our assessment process based off of the feedback we're getting from the physical therapists. So I just want to paint that clear because a lot of people get a little, they cross the lines a little bit, a little confusion. Like, I'll just go to Matt and Michelle. And it's like, no. You got to go because that's what they specialize in.
And isn't that the best marriage is when we can, collaboratively work together and come at it from each of our different lanes. I know from my perspective, when someone is recovering from maybe a surgery or an injury, I look to make sure that they're able to do some pretty key foundational movements pain-free. So for example, things like a squat. I want to make sure that they can get into a squat position pain-free with good alignment so that now I know I feel safe with them going under load and having more repetitions and more strain in the good kind of way of strain put on their body. Same thing with things like pressing up overhead. I want to make sure that they're able to do an overhead press, maybe a plank or a pushing motion. All those key motions I want to make sure are pain-free so that I know that they're safe to come into an environment where they can really get challenged from a load perspective and a repetition perspective. And certainly as someone dives back into that process, it's all about looking at, hey, what's going well and then what's not going well. So when you're working with someone after injury, what are the signs that you guys look for aside from pain to know that, something's not quite going right here, or maybe I need to, back off a little or whatever the case is? What are the things that are your telltale signs that, we need to do a little bit more here?
Another great question. And I don't mean to.
No, go ahead. I'll tell you.
So that comes back from day one. So whether they're coming from you or they're just coming in for a program, and that's going back to our assessment process. And we're really proud of that. Many years of education and learning through trial and error and developing our assessment process. And part of that assessment process is a movement screen. And that movement screen helps us identify the dichotomy, asymmetries, meaning the differences in the left to the right, to the top to the bottom, front to back, when it comes to mobility, stability, strength, and endurance. And it's great that we can see that as movement specialists, but helping the client really understand that. So to answer your question is kind of, we get in front of that versus them behind that. And so we're more proactive and we're addressing what we see and helping them understand that. And I explained to them that we're not physical therapists, like I said, and this isn't going to be a physical therapy program, but it's going to be geared towards functional movement and design based off of that assessment to make you more of a functional mover every day, less prone to injury, less going back to the doctor, less going back to see someone like yourself, at the same time focusing on their goals, whatever that may be. And we collaborate that program. So to answer your question again, is we kind of get in front of that from day one versus kind of answering that question.
Yeah, if I can add a little bit to that real quick. Is so a lot of us kind of, especially we are dealing with people that want to get right back to it, right? And they're like, why are we not working? I'm a runner. Why can't we just start running again? So just making them understand and really creating that bond between us and them, making so I have can you just try this? Maybe they just need to breathe. Maybe they're not breathing well.
Right.
We had today a perfect example of a person that came from physical therapy, and what this person needed was just to learn how to breathe through the diaphragm. And he's like, really? I just need to lay here and breathe. And I said, just go with it. And
trust me.
the thing is, when he was done, he was like, I have never experienced anything like this. This is exactly what I need. So it's just kind of making them like, just give it a try and making them feel, because when somebody feels it and feels good, and when they leave here, we don't want to beat them up. Like a lot, they think that they do. It's like that mentality of like, well, I'm not like, like, I don't feel like I worked out really good. I'm like, but go out there, do what you do. And how do you feel? How's the body feeling? And then slowly progressing.
Yeah. I mean, to help feel better every session, but like Michelle just pointed is educational. Like every goal is for them for that hour, and we see them maybe twice a week, but every time we see them is to, one, help them achieve their goal, why they came to us, but in turn, helping them with, our knowledge, but also education. So
absolutely.
Work to
and yeah. And I find too, Matt, like I do a lot of education on what to expect after a workout, right? Because, someone might be recovering from an injury and we go into I'll call it a pre-workout type exercise program. Because, I consider myself not to be in the workout field. I send people to experts like you guys for that. But I will do, a workout with somebody and then educate them and say, hey, listen, you might feel a little bit sore tonight. That's normal. If that soreness lasts more than that 24 hours, well, then it's telling me that that tissue wasn't quite ready for where we were today, or that we need to do a little bit more preparatory work or some other interventions to help get them more successful with that. So I do a lot of education, like you're saying, to say, hey, a little bit of soreness is okay, but is it pain? Is it lasting more than 24 hours? Is it limiting your ability to do daily tasks? And I find that education really goes a long way to help them feel confident. And also to help me monitor that early return back into that exercise program. You guys have brought up a lot of great information about movement. Tell me a little bit about why you're so passionate about using normal movements in your workouts.
That's all your questions are awesome. That gets into kind of the years that we've been in this, right? So 25 plus years, that's it. That's quite a long time. But throughout those years, like what did we do and what did we study? And one of those is becoming very into yoga. So we're both, certified yoga teachers. And over the course of time, as the more that we learned the yoga practice and that our knowledge of strength and conditioning and personal training, it's combining both of those fields and then applying it to our programming, to put it really simple. So kind of taking yoga science to the strength and conditioning world and merging the two and coming in with really quality movement from those two backgrounds, because they're both awesome. And when they merge together, they become even stronger as one.
Absolutely. And that mind-body connection for sure is such a critical piece. Michelle, did you want to add to that?
So quick, again, yes, the mobility, and just again, seeing how our clients, especially in the senior popularity, like, you see a lot of the shuffling, maybe like as we get older, we kind of hunch down and we shuffle, and they don't, making them understand that there's, it's not just because you're getting older, you can't fix this. You can feel better and move better while using something like the TRX. And they're like, I can't do that. And then just when they start doing it and using it and doing some exercises, it is, I absolutely, it's like the highlight of my day, because then they're like, oh my God, I am moving better. I'm like, we have a 75-year-old that she came here and she's like, I want to do a handstand. And a lot of people will be like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
But don't you know that she's almost there? And it's just because it's just movement mechanics, and, taking her time. Has been over a year now, and we've been working on the strength and the flexibility. Is she going to do it? She just, it's just having a goal, like oriented goal, and not don't feel like, oh, this is just too old for that. You're not old for anything, really. I mean, having that goal and achieving them, it's awesome. It's awesome to see with our clients, and, like just creates awareness and creates excitement for them too, that they can really do cool stuff.
Yeah.
And
the proper movement, just to piggyback on what Michelle said, you have that nice anatomical structure of the spine back there. It's
that's one of our patients. No.
That's awesome. You have that, but that's one thing, we have we call them anatomical Bob. So we have a muscular and we have the skeletal system, but a lot of explanation to the client. Again, we're both you and I, with tons of knowledge, but unless they understand what we're trying to help them with, it's kind of like over their head. But showing when you're answering the question, what you asked is showing, this quality movement with good spinal stability and getting them to understand the structure of the spine, the natural curvature of the cervical and the lower lumbar and where that should be with movement. And that's why all these yellow bands back here, we endorsed those many years ago because Michelle was very into it way before I was, and she dragged me to this big national conference. And the more I learned, as another modality to teach fitness with, I really love the TRX because it's about spinal stability and all your movement and help and assist getting into these movements that there's no way you could without the TRX. And so it's something that we embrace. And that's why, we do a lot of other things, but we utilize TRX quite a bit.
That's great. And, I think that the beauty of functional movement training, whether it's on a rehabilitative side or strength and conditioning side, the beauty is it's very correlative. I can say to a person, we're doing this exercise because it's the same as getting off a toilet, or we're going to do this because it's like stepping over into your bathtub. We're going to do this because it's like pushing open a heavy door. So it's really nice to be able to say this exercise directly correlates with something that you do every single day of your life. And even more powerful to me is when they say, oh, you know what? I want to get down on the floor and play with my grandkids. And I say, great, this stretch is going to help make your hips more flexible to get down on the floor to play with your grandkids. So when you can directly tie it to their specific goal, it's like, everybody gets the buy-in is great. And it just feels so good to help work with someone towards their own individual goals. And so I also have drunk the Kool-Aid that, functional training is really where it's at, because that's how our bodies are meant to move. And that's where we see the most carryover. Certainly when we cross over into high performance athletes, that's a different situation. If someone is specifically training for a specific skill, but for the average American, we want to be moving very functionally, using our body weight in really healthy and strong ways. And I think that, I love hearing you guys say that.
Yeah. Pain-free. Yeah.
Pain-free. Exactly.
Just, kind of closing in on that question is that, it's kind of a mouthful when I say this to people and they're like, whoa, explain that to me a little bit, but teaching structural integration and movement efficiency. So teaching them the 4 peripheral points of the hands and the feet and how the neural patterns run with the muscles inward and back outward again while doing this movement. So you're integrated with this functional movement we're talking about with good spinal stability.
Yeah. And that's just that's where the money maker is, right? When we can start to really build that whole holistic piece, the whole body working together synergistically, we see such great effects on people's performance. So let's talk a little bit about program design, specifically post-injury, since, typically how things work for me is, I rehab somebody, I get them pain-free, I get them back to their daily tasks without pain. I make sure their movement components are crystal clean and precise. And then I say, okay, great. We've met our therapy goals. It's now time to move into sports performance, strength and conditioning, or fitness goals. And then I would reach out to you guys and say, hey, listen, I think this patient would do really, really well with you. So usually I will send over a report to that person and say, hey, here's the things we were working on. Here's some trouble areas to look out for. So talk me through, once you get that information and that patient, after you do your initial assessment, what does your program design look like? How do you create that program to be successful for that person? I'm going to let Michelle start with this one.
Okay.
Ooh, snap, Matt.
I know, he's so good. He's not is, so not that we are not, but he is. If you have never, you have to come actually, Kristen, and do one of his meetings. But he is a fantastic. His assessments are phenomenal, and he really is. He's done thousands and thousands of them. And
I'm still learning every day. I'm a
student
at the same time, because I still see some people do things that you're not really supposed to be able to do that. So I'm still learning, even though. But thank you for the kudos.
Yeah, no. So anyway, so once we put them through our fitness assessment and then piggyback with what the PT physical therapist report is. One of the things that I do, and I believe Matt does too, also, we talk to them about their goal. We want to hear what they think they should be doing, right? So we want to know, what's your goal? What do you, why are you, we want to get stronger for what? Sometimes there's a big why, and sometimes there's not quite. I just want to feel better or move better. Sometimes they're athletes and they have to get back to their sport, or, whatever it might be. So we are huge on the goal setting. So I want to make sure that our goals match. And then we go through the program. It will be, baby steps, but we just want to make sure that we are targeting, I guess I want to target hugely what we do. Core is, there's always going to be some kind of core, because we all benefit from core exercises, right? There's always going to be some kind of core exercise. There's going to be a lot of flexibility and balance. And we're huge on stretching at the end too. We help them with that. A lot of people forget about that whole part of the program. They're like, I'm good, I'll stretch later. That never happens, right? We're known for that. I said, if you have to be somewhere, I'll stop 5 minutes before or 10 minutes before, but you will get stretched. We're going to do some kind of stretching together. Either it's yoga stretches or lunge backs, or I myself will actually, do the stretches for them, help them out with them. So it just depends. It depends on the person. And again, I'm not.
It's great. So they come in, they graduate from you, and we have this awesome referral from you. So it's like, okay, so what, like Michelle said, what's your why? One, I don't want to be hurt again. Right. So, well, that's great. It's a good program. Let's make sure you understand why you got hurt, which they probably pretty much from working with you, understand that and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to continue to do these awesome exercises that you have from physical therapy. I'm not going to take that away, but we're going to add these exercises. Again, we do that thorough assessment we're talking about, but also the why. So, tapping into some of the people we work with and certifications is like, could be coming in, want to get back into running, want to get back into biking, want to get back into golf, TPI certified. So we say, hey, we have a physical therapist in the program. You got us now as movement coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, and we're going to get, the running coach or the golf pro involved as well. So we're all collaborating to make you achieve your goal the best you can, what point you are.
And nutrition is huge too. So I am a nutrition. So I am a IIN health coach, certified health coach. So we do, I think eating is what we all know. It's 80-20, right? So it's so important. So their program is always going to be conversations about, what are you eating? What are you going to eat next? We educate them on when and how and why. So that conversation is always there, always.
Yeah. And absolutely, it's again, that balance, right? Of the holistic person. I'm not just looking at just your knee, or I'm not looking at just getting you to deadlift, or I'm not getting you just on your bike. We're going to look at all the things that make you the movement miracle that you are, and fuel that in the correct way, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychosocially, every single possible way. So I truly appreciate you guys saying that. And certainly, the counter piece too is, I often will tell people when they leave me to go work out, hey, if you're working out and all of a sudden you notice pain again, well, that's your sign that your body's not moving correctly. So either come back and see me, let's problem solve that out. Talk with your strength and conditioning coach, see if you can problem solve it out. But let's make sure that as soon as that pain is an issue, you're back in so that we can address that and nip it in the bud. And also, let's say conversely, someone who doesn't have an injury and is going through a program really well, all of a sudden, they're having pain while they're going up and down the steps or getting off the toilet, doing regular daily tasks. That's one of those key indicators that we say, hey, check in with your local PT, whether it's us or someone else, and see what's going on, because you want to make sure that doesn't then interfere with your ability to exercise or move or do anything else. So we do like to educate on that use of pain as that red flag, to say, hey, something's up. We gotta look into this a little bit closer and see what other information we need to attain to make sure that this doesn't become a problem.
Tuning in, make sure that we teach them. Start listening. Our bodies tell us so much. We just have to have the will and the patience and just be present enough to notice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And all right, so we're winding down. I know that was a really fast half hour, wasn't it? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, so then we'll end with something fun. So in all your years, 25 years of doing this, what's the best part of your job? What's the part that makes you want to get up in the morning and go to work?
Oh,
Just I'll let her go. Just
the stories I get back. I mean, I'm going to share one. For example, I had this, an older lady, but she was in her 80s, and she came to me, she said, Michelle, she was so excited. She said, I was able to put my underwear on myself without my husband's help. It made my day. So I have stories like that, but just something as simple as that. Or hearing we have youth athlete programs now with a lot of the girls, middle school age girls and boys, and having come to me and be like, oh my God, I use that breathing technique that you showed me to calm myself down before a test. Something as simple as that. So that fuels me. I get the chills. It just fuels me knowing that I'm able to make somebody become the best version of themselves. And if I have a little say in it and guide them a little bit, that makes it for me.
Amazing. Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with this, trying to enhance my own being back in late high school and into college. And then I got certified back halfway through school, not really knowing what I was doing back then, but I was feeling good, and everyone's like, well, what are you doing? Help me out. So I kind of started to tap into it at that point, but I went a different direction in the first part right out of college. But I quickly, after 3 years in that field, I jumped back into this field because it was a calling in life. And it was just like, I enjoyed it so much to help people. And so alarm goes off 4:45 every day, 25 plus years. It's like, I always say to myself, yeah, we get tired sometimes, right? We went to bed late and it's Thursday, Friday, and we've been doing this, but, I jump out of bed and going, thinking back to when I was, made that career change in my early, 20s. And I was just like, I love what I do. Right. And it's like, I love what I do. So, sometimes like anything, it's like even getting to your own, physical therapy session or your personal training session. The hardest part is getting there. And then once you're there, it's like, it's a whole new world.
Ooh, yeah, that's exactly right.
When, I walk in the door of an in-home or one of my corporate clients or, through the gym door right here, it's just like, I'm here and I'm energized and I'm ready to help people. And I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, both of your answers are, you kind of took my answers. Geez. But I would say one thing that I love is when I see my patients become empowered. I give them the tools and they're like, ooh, I can do this. I can really do this. And see, I just got the chills too, Michelle. I'm like you. So, I love that sensation when you see that they know that they just took control of their lives and their situation. Right? Say that again.
Got the aha moment, right? You gave them something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which is why I'm so grateful to you guys today for coming on, sharing your wealth of knowledge. And hopefully we created an aha moment in someone watching. And certainly, I thoroughly enjoyed our time together. I am looking forward to, collaborating on clients in the future, both as they recover from injury and progress into the best versions of themselves. So I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for putting this together. We look forward to a continuing relationship. For sure.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.